cannonballs like this one caused devastating injury during battles of the American Revolution. But some cannonballs could cause serious injury and death even without actually hitting anyone. And one of these baffling cannonball injuries happened here on this very battlefield in 1775 during one of the very first pitched battles of the American Revolution. Captain Ebenezer Bancroft was blinded in one eye somewhere here on this very ground about where I'm standing, here in Charlestown, Massachusetts, on June 17th, 1775. And on the same day, but in a different location, a soldier suffered a similar injury and fell to the ground on the American lines near Boston Neck and was unable to get up again on his own. Both of these men were injured, one fatally, by cannonballs that passed right by them, but never actually touched them. Hi everybody, it's me, Katie. Welcome back to my channel where it is all Revolutionary War all the time. On this channel, we venture out on historical action adventures and we visit places where events of the American Revolution actually happened. So if this sounds like fun to you, and if you're looking for in-depth, dare I say, non-AI generated historical content, then I hope you'll consider subscribing and coming along on the next historical action adventure. During the early morning hours of June 17th, 1775, American troops erected an earthen fort on the top of this hill overlooking Boston. And that dirt fort has come down to us through history known as the Redoubt. And it stood approximately where the Bunker Hill Monument stands today. Captain Ebenezer Bancroft was up here with about 1,000 other provincial troops working furiously to fortify the redoubt, to strengthen it as much as possible before the British attacked. But before the British even landed here in Charlestown, British warships, as well as the British-built battery on Copp's Hill in Boston, opened up their cannons to fire upon the provincials who were working on the redoubt. Captain Ebenezer Bancroft was standing at the redoubt, working to fortify it, when suddenly a cannonball rocketed past his head, missing his face by just a couple inches. Another similar incident happened on the same day as the Battle of Bunker Hill, but not here in Charlestown, but on the American lines near Boston Neck. And you can probably see the Boston skyline behind me, which is just a few miles away as the crow flies. In 1775, there was only one land route in and out of Boston. And it's not like that today. But in 1775, the Boston Peninsula was connected to the mainland at Roxbury by just a skinny strip of land. And during the siege of Boston, no one knew if or when the British who occupied Boston might plan a foray across Boston Neck to attack the mainland. On the day of Bunker Hill, 19-year-old John Trumbull of Connecticut was stationed at Roxbury, and he recalled that the British began to throw heavy shot into the American lines from Boston Neck. And as he was there, a heavy ball rushed right past him, harmlessly. But there had been a soldier standing only a foot or two away from him who suddenly dropped to the ground. And as Trumbull looked at him, he saw no blood. He noticed that all of the man's limbs were still intact and that he had no apparent injury. And so Trumbull rushed over to him and said, get up, you haven't been hit. But the man could not get up. He could not stand up on his own. So Trumbull and some other men grabbed him and got him to the surgeon. But when Trumbull went to check on the man later, he received shocking news. I thought that you all might want to get a closer look at this cannonball. Unfortunately, I don't know its history, so I can't tell you where it was or when or what it did. But what I can say is that it weighs 10 pounds and it is a solid, very dense iron ball, about the size of a grapefruit. And in the 18th century, the deaths or injuries caused by the passing of a ball just like this one were a known phenomenon. They were referred to as wind of the ball injuries or wind of a ball. And wind was implicated because the theory at the time, as understood by some 18th century surgeons and physicians who had treated such injuries on the battlefield, was that as the cannonball passed at a very high velocity, it disrupted the air around a person and displaced it, causing a temporary vacuum to form outside the body. And that vacuum outside the body would cause the person's internal structures, such as organs, arteries, veins, to rupture. And so that the cause of death was explained by internal injuries caused by a vacuum outside the body as the cannonball passed the person, but never actually touching them. There have been no modern day studies that I'm aware of that would either confirm or refute this theory. So that is a limitation in our understanding today. But before we get back to the battlefield, which I really want to do, I just want to mention 3 quick things. And first I'll put this cannonball down for a moment. I hope you'll consider clicking the like button on this video. Clicking the like button tells YouTube that a viewer found a video to be of value and that there is an audience out there for in-depth, non-AI historical content like mine. So liking the video would really help my channel a lot. If you would consider doing so, I would be very appreciative. Thank you for considering it. The next thing I wanted to mention is that I do have a website. It's allrevolutionarywar.com, and there is a sign up on there for any future updates or newsletters that I might send. I have not yet sent any. It's still kind of in development, but I thought I wouldn't send any until I feel like I have something really worthwhile to share. So if you would like to sign up and await any future updates or newsletters, you can go to allrevolutionarywar.com. And then lastly is that YouTube tells me that there is a hype button on my channel now. I have not actually seen it. I don't know if you can see it. If you would like to click it, you can. It's free, totally at no cost to you. And evidently what it does is that it gives audiences an opportunity to tell YouTube that they think this channel should be bigger. My understanding is that this is a measure for small channels and for their audience to kind of have a say in the channel growing. So YouTube has supposedly put a hype button on my channel that will allow viewers to hype up the channel. I don't know if it's there really or if you see it. If you do see it, if you would like to click it, then that would be great. And I guess together we can all find out what happens. So those are just kind of 3 small channel related things that I wanted to share because some people have asked. So you can take a last look here at this Cannonball. We have left Captain Ebenezer Bancroft on the heights of Charlestown on June 17th, 1775, and John Trumbull at the American lines in Roxbury. I think that they have been left alone for far too long. Let's get back to the video. Back here at the Bunker Hill battlefield, Captain Ebenezer Bancroft stood on June 17th, 1775, at age 37, with 5 children at home, all under the age of 12. And I just mention that because he had so much at stake. The men who were here all had so much at stake. And when that cannonball rocketed past his face, just missing his head by a couple of inches at the most, it severely damaged his left eye. And he eventually lost all of the sight in the eye. But that injury that he sustained from the wind of the ball did not prevent him from remaining in the redoubt for the duration of the battle. And in fact, he was in the redoubt amongst the very last of the men to leave during the climax of the battle, when, at the final moment, the British finally overran it. In those final moments of the battle, the British charged up this hill and propelled themselves over the earthen walls of the redoubt and surged into it. Captain Bancroft and the other men who were amongst the very last to leave the redoubt had to fight their way out, hand to hand, when the retreat was called. But he made it. Captain Bancroft made it out of the redoubt and survived the Battle of Bunker Hill. He went on to live over another 40 years, not passing away until he was 89. Meanwhile, in Roxbury, John Trumbull received shocking news when he went to go check on the soldier who had dropped to the ground when that cannonball passed in between them. He learned that despite no external injuries, the man had died, leading Trumbull to believe that the man had died from internal injuries caused by the wind of the ball. Yet another example of devastating injuries being inflicted by passing cannonballs that never actually touched anyone. For more on a somewhat unknown aspect of the Battle of Bunker Hill, I hope you'll watch this video. Thank you all so much for being here, and I'll see you in the next one.